The snow is still coming down. It has been coming down for hours. It settles on everything, on the trees, on the ground, on the shoulders of the man crouching in it. His breath rises in short, even clouds. He is not moving. The man beside him is not moving either, for different reasons. The forest is quiet in the way that cold forests are quiet. Not peaceful, still, the kind of still that presses down. He adjusts his position, moves one knee to find firmer ground beneath the snow, finds none. He looks down at the man beside him and then looks up, into the trees, in the direction the others went. He stays where he is. The unit has been pulling back for the better part of an hour. He knows this. He watched them go. There was an order, clear, direct, the kind that doesn't invite discussion. Move back, move now. The Germans were pushing hard and the line was collapsing, and the only sensible thing, the only militarily defensible thing, was to fall back and regroup and find ground worth holding. He had heard the order. He had not followed it. Not because he didn't understand it, not because he disagreed with it, but because the man beside him could not walk, and he had not been willing to test what leaving him there would mean. So he had stayed. And then the sounds of the unit moving faded through the trees, and then there was only the snow, and the silence, and the man breathing beside him in uneven intervals. The forest does not offer opinions on the decision. It just snows. This is the Ardennes, December 1944, a dense, frozen forest that military planners had considered difficult terrain. Terrain the Germans had moved through anyway, and had now moved through again. On the 16th of December, under heavy fog that grounded Allied aircraft and muffled sound across the front, the Wehrmacht pushed into a sector the Allies had considered quiet, a rest area. What it became is what history calls the Battle of the Bulge. In the first days, whole units were cut off. Supply lines failed. Men found themselves isolated in freezing forest with no clear picture of where the front had moved, where friendly forces had gone. The cold was not incidental to any of this. It was a condition that shaped every hour, every movement, every decision. Temperatures dropped well below freezing. Frostbite moved through units like a second casualty, quiet and patient. He knows this. His body knows it more precisely than his mind does. He has been outside in this for hours. The man beside him drifts in and out, not unconscious exactly, somewhere between. There are moments when his eyes focus and he seems to track where he is, what is happening. And then there are moments when he is somewhere else entirely. His breathing has been the steady reference point. As long as it continues, there is something to stay for. He checks it without meaning to. Every few minutes, a reflex. The breath clouds rise and dissipate, and he watches them and then looks back into the trees. He has tried moving the man twice now. The wound, the terrain, the weight. It has been more than one person's work. The first attempt went a few yards before his legs gave out beneath him, and he went down on one knee in the snow and stayed there longer than he intended, head lowered, hands braced on his thigh, breathing through it. Not dramatic, just a body reaching a limit and needing a moment. He gave himself that moment. Then he got up. The second attempt went further. He found a line through the trees that was more level, less obstructed. Progress, but slow. Slow in the way that makes you do arithmetic in your head about distance and time and whether the arithmetic makes sense. He stopped doing the arithmetic. His hands are the problem now. They have been cold for so long that the cold has moved from sensation to something else. A deep, humming numbness with heat buried inside it. He knows that combination. He has been told what it means. He opens and closes his fingers against his palms. Does it again. Keeps them moving, even when moving them takes more intention than it should. The light is the color of old iron, flat and directionless, the cloud cover sitting low, gray and white and the dark lines of trees. A world made of two colors in the space between them. He looks at the man beside him. There is a version of this, he is aware of it, has been aware of it since the unit left, where the calculation is different, where you weigh what is possible against what is certain, where you make a different decision and you carry it with you for the rest of your life instead of carrying the man. He has seen men make that version. He understands why they make it. He has not made it. He is not entirely sure why. It is not something he has been able to reduce to a single reason. It is possible there is no single reason. It is possible that some decisions aren't made so much as arrived at, through some combination of wiring and tiredness in the particular face of the man on the ground beside you. He shifts again, moves closer. Body heat in these temperatures is not a solution. It is barely a contribution. But small contributions accumulate, or he tells himself they do, and so he stays close. Time in the cold runs differently than it does elsewhere. It thickens. Minutes do not feel like minutes. The effort required just to maintain basic function, to keep moving the hands, to keep the body from settling into the invitation that cold makes, takes up space that normally goes to other things. Thinking becomes slower, not impaired, deliberate. Each thought more considered, as if the cold has stripped out the surplus. What's left is the man beside him. That is the whole of it. The line, the offensive, what the regiment is doing right now, none of that can be reached from this position. Only this. He speaks quietly to the man, not for any particular reason. A voice in the cold is something, a small signal. He is here. They are going to try again. He gets his arms beneath the man, adjusts his footing in the snow, and moves. He does not know how long it takes. Later, he will not be able to give a number. What he will be able to describe when asked is the quality of the darkness, how it changed slowly from the flat iron of overcast afternoon to something deeper and more absolute, and then, after a long time, to something that had faint gray at the edges, morning working its way back in. He remembers stopping twice to rest. Both times the man's breathing was there when he checked. Both times he got back up. He remembers the trees beginning to thin. He remembers, before he saw anyone, hearing voices, American voices, speaking low, moving carefully through the tree line, with their rifles up, having heard something in the dark they couldn't identify. He said something. He doesn't remember exactly what, only that it was enough. They came forward. There were 4 of them. A patrol that had been working that sector since before first light, mapping the edge of what the Germans held and what they didn't. They had not been looking for him specifically. They found him anyway. He sat down in the snow while they worked, not because he chose to. His legs simply decided, and he let them. Someone put something warm in his hands. He doesn't remember what. He remembers the weight of it, the fact of warmth. The man was still breathing. He remembers that clearly. The Battle of the Bulge lasted until late January 1945. The human cost was enormous and documented in the records that survived. What the records are less good at holding are the intervals between those events, the hours inside the trees, the decisions that weren't orders, the men who stayed because leaving wasn't something they were able to do, and who couldn't fully explain why, even afterward. Most of them didn't speak about it much. The snow covers a great deal, but some of it stays. If this kind of history reaches you, the human part, the part that lives between the dates and the troop numbers, consider subscribing. There are more stories. Each one belongs to a real person. Each one deserves to be told with care.